time for another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. If you caught the morning coffee show, you already know I'm wearing the Hawkeye gear, just still supporting the team. Came up a bit short against Iowa State on Saturday. Congratulations, Cyclones. You looked really, really good. And the more times that I see Rocco Breck play quarterback for Iowa State, the more impressed I am with that young man. I see him going first round. I think that he is that good of a quarterback. His accuracy is it's off the charts. The dimes that he was dropping into his receivers, even the ones that they didn't catch, were just so spot on and only putting the ball where his receivers could find it. Iowa defensive backs had no chance at an interception at any point during that game. So this is Iowa State's a really, really good football team, and it would not surprise me at all to see them playing in the postseason and going for a national championship in the new extended playoff format that we now have in the NCAA. Also, as you see in the interview portion of the show today, I'm wearing a Falcons jersey. That's because we're celebrating the NFL getting going again this weekend. So football is in full swing. Welcome to fall. Yeah, I get still technically it's summer, but to me, once it's September, it's fall. That's just how it is. And plus, with the temperatures been what they were, I had to go buy a new coat. Yeah, got a little chilly. So we're back to fall. I think we just need to slide that up. September 1st should just be the first day of autumn. I think we'll sign a new petition. Today's guest on the show, Maria Torres. Maria is the Health Equity Coordinator for Pottawattamie County Public Health, and they have something coming up called Wings Around Town. So we're going to talk to her about that. Also, talk to her about a new podcast that she has started. It's with Stephanie Steele with All Care Health Center. The two of them teamed up. And I'm really encouraged anytime that I see somebody step out and start a new podcast. And that is what Maria and Stephanie are doing. So we'll talk with Maria about that too. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered. Fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. And it is time to get that furnace checked. You want to get a hold of AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning in Council Bluffs. This is the Waldsteins. Travis and his son Hayden heading up these two companies. When integrity matters, and when doesn't it, these are the guys you want to get a hold of. AirServeCouncilBluffs.com, WaldsteinPlumbing.com. There's the websites for you. Castle & Associates of American Family Insurance is your local insurance provider for all of your home, auto, life, business, and farm insurance needs. 4 convenient locations. They're in Council Bluffs. They're also in Trainer and across the river into Nebraska in Bellevue and in Elkhorn. It means they're local and right in your neighborhood, ready to help you navigate the complexities of insurance today. Travis and his team educate, advise, and simplify insurance, all to protect those things you cherish most. Give them a call for your free quote. With us this morning, it is Maria Torres, Health Equity Coordinator for Pottawattamie County Public Health. Why, Maria, it is so good to see you again. It's been a while since we've had a chance to sit down and talk. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I remember the first time that we did an interview. I'll just be honest, you were a little nervous. And now, now you have gone so far that I'm seeing you're doing a lot of public speaking engagements. You are hosting your own podcast. I mean, you want to talk about just taking the ball and run with it. That's what Maria Torres has done.
And I should be grateful because so at the time I know that we talked about the Women of Color Leadership Program through the Iowa West Foundation, and that helped me so much. That gave me the confidence because by then I was shaking like a leaf, and now I'm like, oh, this is not too bad, but I still get the jitters sometimes.
Well, listen, I get jitters too. My background being in radio, and I've been in radio stations all across the country. And any time that I opened up a new microphone, just like this one, for the first time, I was nervous every single time, even after decades of being on the mic. So don't let that throw you. That's actually natural that happens. That little bit of nervous stomach that you get before you go on keeps you honest and keeps you focused. It's a good thing that's happening.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I did have a leader tell me, once that feeling is gone, like your passion for that is gone too. So it's a good thing, that you're feeling that because you're like, I'm really passionate about this. I'm putting my heart into it. So yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about what it is that you've been working on. I know you've got projects that are happening. We'll talk about your podcast, but I heard something about Wings Around Town. What is this?
Yeah. So this has been a project that we have had for about a year already, and it's a community art project. And what this does is that with our group, so we are. So I work with public health, and I also have a organization that it's called the Community Project. And with that, we're doing feathers made out of clay, and we're taking them out into the community and having them painted by the community. And we have partnered up with Iowa Western, who have done our Wings of Steel. So this piece is going to come together, and that's why it's called Wings Around Town, because we want to show who we are as a community. That we're just all over the place. We're very diverse.
Touch expand on that a little bit about who we are as a community, because you're out in the community all the time. I think you're a great person to talk about this.
Thank you. I've who we are as a community. Oh my God, it's amazing. I think like I didn't understand it too much before I started working with the county. I think that before I thought, like we are all our little separate little communities. There's, silos and stuff. But when I started actually going out there and talking to people, I noticed that we are all just weaved together. And there is just that, I don't know, if anything, if I have noticed anything about Council Bluffs is that we can come together when things happen. And I love that about Council Bluffs. So that's why I wanted, to show everyone like who we are and how it doesn't matter how you look like, what language you speak, we can come together and do this beautiful thing for the world to see.
I think you using that same word over and over. This is kind of a buzz thing with me too, is you kept saying the word we. And I think that the more often we can say we and not use the word they,
Mhm.
that indicates a health in a community, and that being together as a part of things. I have described Council Bluffs to anyone who will listen that my belief is we are the biggest small town in Iowa. And
We really are.
yeah, because that's
Yeah.
what it feels like being here. We have close to 65,000 people, I think a little over 63,000, but it feels
Mhm.
like a small town. Where if you go to another community, such as very comparable, Ankeny, as an example,
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a small town. That feels more like a metropolitan area. But
Yes.
Council Bluffs feels small, even though it's big. And
Yeah.
that community part of it is, I believe, is what makes that possible.
And it's so true, because and I started noticing, like I said, more once I started working for public health, especially when we were doing the mass vaccination clinics. I just saw everyone coming together, all the organizations, hospitals, just volunteers, all of us wanting to help. How can we help, and how can we do more for our community? And I love that. Like that filled me up. I'm like, this is the space to be in. I want others to know how we are, because I don't know, it's a beautiful thing, because you don't hear that from a lot of communities. If anything, they're like, what, your community did that? And it's, yeah, like it's amazing.
uh, Talk a little bit about because you grew up obviously someplace else
Mhm.
initially before getting to Council Bluffs. So as you have gotten here and as you have grown inside of the community and you have put yourself into a position of leadership. I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but you are. That is who you are. Uh,
Yeah.
so that process of learning and growing inside of a different area than your early background. So just describe how that's been for you.
So I think at the beginning it was I felt, like I didn't belong. Like there was a sense of not belonging because at the beginning I didn't understand the language. I looked different than everyone else. I mean, you can even see my hair. So I felt like that disconnection. But the more I was involved with the community, the more I'm like, no, like this has always been home for me. I grew up. Mostly the people that I see that are working in the community are people that I went to high school with, people that I saw growing up. So that is an amazing thing to experience. And to be in this position, it's really cool because in a way, I'm showing others who look like me, like, you can do it too. Like, we got this. Like, we are, I don't know, like, I think we are just really in our minds, and we shouldn't be. Like, we are more as a community.
I also, another thing that I've described about Council Bluffs too is that it's a very welcoming community if you want to be here.
Yeah.
If you want to be here and you want to plug yourself in, this community will welcome you with open arms. Now, the opposite side of that is if you're just dipping your toe in and then running away, maybe to the other side of the river or something like that, people can sniff that out, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work very well. We want you here. And
Yeah.
we want you to
Yeah.
be a part of things, but it's also necessary for people to feel like you are a part of it.
Yeah, it really does. If that's it's really important, because I have felt that. I have seen leaders that are from other places, and then I'm like, no, but if you don't feel like you belong here, it's not going to work out. And it's because you're going to feel like you're an outsider. And I think, like, I am really glad that I started feeling more like at home and being more within the community and actually having conversations with people around me, that it made me feel even more of that connectedness of, oh my God, like, these are my people. And it's people that I grew up with, people that I see every day. So it's nice to have that. But when you don't and you feel like an outsider, it's really hard to get into. But I don't know. I love Council Bluffs. It's been home for so many years by now that it's been great.
Well, and also, I mean, you've put yourself out there and you've taken risks and you've taken chances and you have seen that pay off. And that's watching you grow in the position that you've been from a distance. I mean, we're just kind of out on the outside. It's inspiring, and it's not just inspiring to me, but it's inspiring to other people too. You talked about already the people that look like you, and seeing that, oh well, if Maria can do it, obviously I can too. Is that feedback that you hear from people quite often?
Yes, actually, I wasn't expecting it. I never expected anything like that. If anything, I tell people that I felt like I was kind of thrown into it, and I had to learn how to swim, and I loved it. And then I started seeing how it was impacting others, and just hearing that feedback of, do you know what you're doing out there? Like, you are changing that for someone else. Like, you are. You're putting that pathway for someone else to walk into, so it's not as difficult as it was for you. So I don't know, it feels really good. It feels really nice to hear others, like, I may not be there with you, but I'm watching everything that you're doing. You're doing amazing. So it's great, because I don't think, that people are watching. I truly don't think that people are watching.
Oh,
But
they're
it's
watching.
it's nice.
They're watching.
Thank you. It's nice to hear it, because sometimes I feel like, am I showing that I'm doing what I'm really passionate about? Because I really do love what I'm doing. I love working with the community that I live in. I am passionate about helping people, so I hope that I can put that out there for others to do the same.
Also, every once in a while, it's important to reconnect with your roots. And you had a chance to do that just recently.
Oh yeah. So I went back home after 4 years. So before, I used to go home at least once a year, since I was able to. Once I had a green card back in 2015 was the first time that I went. But this time it took me a while, obviously, due to COVID and all the restrictions and all of that. But this year I went back with my mom, and it was really nice. It was nice to reconnect, go back home. Um, but home is great, but coming back home it's even better, because it's just here. I don't know. I already placed my roots here, but it's good to go and touch again and be like, oh, like, this is where I come from, and then coming back and bringing that here.
Well, in that place, we should probably mention it's El Salvador,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
went
El
back to.
Salvador.
Was it different for you going back this time? Was there, maybe there's not changes in the physical location or the places that you went to, but it's we are constantly in a state of growth. So sometimes you're going to see things with different eyes than maybe you did before.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is, I honestly speaking, is so much better. I felt safer. So a little bit of my story. I left El Salvador when I was 10 because we had earthquakes. So, we were homeless there for a little bit, and then there was a lot of gangs activity out there. So it was, it became a thing of when my mom was talking to my grandma about us coming here to the United States, it was, there's no home already. So there's nothing more to live in. And what happens, if the gang members were to get a hold of the girls? Back then, they were taking girls and selling them into sex trafficking, or they were stealing them and keeping them. So there was just so much going on with that. And then, with earthquakes and not having anything, that for them it became a thing of like, we have to, like, this is a must for their safety. So, going there and not having any of that now and just feeling safe. That's one of the things that I told my mom. Like, I drove out there and I was so afraid of driving. We were driving at 9, like at 9, 10 p.m. And it felt nice. It felt good not having to worry about like, oh, what if someone jumps, or if there's someone shooting or you're hearing crazy things. But no, it was amazing. Like, you just feel that safety. Um, but like with everything, when you go on vacation, everything is nice for like, the 2 weeks or whatever, how long you're gone, because it's like, oh, it's vacation. I can go to the beach, get suntan, just all of the things. But then at some point you're like, okay, we got to go home now.
You can kind of feel it. That's the way I am when I start to get towards the tail end of a trip, and I start to get a little antsy. And I said, "All right, I'm ready to go now. Let's let's just get back." But it's also good to you have to hit that disconnection level first and say, "Okay, I have unplugged from my regular life for a good respite, and then
Yes.
be able to get back out there again." So, it's always fun to hear. I've never been. I've never
Yeah.
been. Uh, Actually, the only time I went to another country, I went to Canada one time for a weekend, and that's not really going to another country. That's like America Light,
Yeah.
because it's basically the same culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't plugged myself into a completely different place, but it's on my list, and I'm looking forward
I
to being able
recommend
to get
it.
there.
I definitely recommend it. I took my 9-year-old, and, for him to see that world too, it was amazing because there's so much poverty too.
Mhm.
Whether there is so much safety, but there is a lot of poverty. So for him to be grounded and to see that, and, to ask questions on like, what is this? Because I don't see this at home. Like, why are people doing that? And having to explain that to him, like, there is such a I don't know, this connection, and I
Right.
was trying to explain that to him. I'm like, I understand that, back home we have all of these things and you don't have to worry about that because I have my job. I thank God for that. I do what I can, but that's not the same in this country. So it's nice for him to, I don't know, to humble him down, I guess, just to make sure, like, I know that you have privilege, kid, but not everyone has that. So it was good to have him go and experience that too.
Was there also a sense for your son of like this is his roots, even though he hasn't grown up there? And this is a slightly different version, but still there's some similarities there. A couple of years ago, I went to a place in New Mexico where my father had grown up, and I had not been there. And after he passed, I took part of his ashes back to that part. And while I was there, I was talking with one of the people that had grown up there and lived there his whole life, and his mother had lived there her whole life. And I was telling him my connection, and he said, "Wow, it really sounds like you have some roots here." And I just instantly felt a connection to a place that I'd never been before. And I'm
I,
curious whether or not you saw that from a 9-year-old.
I definitely did. That I think like the hardest thing for him was, I wish I would speak Spanish. Like, that was the one thing that he mentioned. because I was showing him like places that I have gone. I went to where I went to school when I was there, and I was explaining to him, like I was in that school, and
Right.
just him watching it, and he was just, oh my god, to the point where I was having a conversation with my mom too when she was little, and because we went to the land where she was growing up, and she was showing him all of that. She's like, I used to run here, and I used to be on a horse, all of that. And at some point, my son asked me if I would tell him my story when he grew up, because he kept seeing on how I kept asking my mom questions of, how was it when you grew up? What are all the things that you did? Because I even met one of her childhood friends when I was there this time around, and I had never had that with her before. So he kept watching all that interaction with her and I, and he's like, could you please like tell me, when I grow up, your story? So I'm writing him a book of everything that I can possibly remember right now. And I'm like, how about I just write you a book? And, I know it now, because when I get older, I'm like, because when I get to my mom's age, my life is going to be so different. I can see the differences between even now, of when I used to tell my story and just doing it now. And it's just, he's feeling so much closer to the point where he's like, I want to go there every year. Can we come for Christmas? And I'm like, wait, that's too
That's
close.
funny.
I'm like, how about, your birthday next year? And he's like, but why not Christmas? Because now he wants to see how the traditions are in Christmas,
Right.
because everything is so different. Over there, there's no snow. So there is a lot of fireworks, and it's a party out there. So for him, it's like, I want to go see that. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that yet. Yeah, no.
it,
I'm like,
it's so wonderful to be able to see a young person like that learning at that level, and it's inspiring. Before we run out of time, Maria, I want to talk to you about your podcast that you have recently launched, and it's designed for the community, much the way this one is. And
yes.
here's a misnomer that I think that some people feel such as when they're starting a podcast, and they think of it as traditional media, and they also think of it as um, what I used to call appointment listening, meaning that if you weren't listening to it right when it came on, you weren't going to hear it. I mean, because that's the way traditional media is. Well, that's not podcast. And if someone is listening to a podcast, they're not listening to just one. They're listening to several. So what you and I are doing, and you talking with people in the community on your podcast, it's a complement to what we do here. Not you and I are not in competition with this. We are complementing each other and growing the community and help getting the word out about what is happening here and in the surrounding area. So where did the idea come from to do this? You're doing it with Stephanie Steele from All Care Health Center. So where did that idea come from, and how did that grow?
So like I mentioned before, like with everything that I do, I have always been, very community driven. So for me, it has been, and if it has been about stories. So throughout, I think my career with public health, I kept hearing on how, talking about your story is what brings connection, brings people together. So that's where I thought, and it has been something that I have been playing with throughout, but I was always thinking like, is it worth it? I haven't heard anyone come out and talk about stories specifically. Like, why is it that you are who you are, like what makes you you, or what is your why? So I brought the idea out. Remember talking with Stephanie, and I'm like, listen, like I am very passionate, but I want people to share. I want people to bring connection. I feel that we are very disconnected. Although we are a community, I feel a little disconnected with a lot of people. So I thought, if you were to able to hear my story, or someone else's story, we will find that common ground of, or something that they're going to say that is just going to hit home for you. And I don't know, I feel like that's what's going to bring us together somehow. And that's has always been my goal within Council Bluffs. I'm like, I want that for us. I think that we're not a community unless we somehow feel connected.
I think that's a great way of putting it. I think that what you're out there doing professionally now with the Community Mike podcast as well, and I'm glad that I know you, and it's good to see this type of thing grow and you grow inside of what it is that we're doing. And I'm sure that you're already aware of it. The community speaks very highly of you. They see what you're doing, and we're very happy that you're in the position that you're in. So, and I'm very happy that you took a little bit of your day to jump on this program with us. And anything we can do for you here, any information that we can help spread, please reach out. We'd be very happy to do it.
Thank you so much. And, like I said at the beginning of this, next time I'm going to be interviewing you in the community, Mike.
I would like that very much. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in Southwest Iowa, Blake Hunter, your trusted realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, is the first number that you need to call. Blake knows the local market and is dedicated to helping you find the perfect place to call home. He also hosts a popular podcast called Hunting Home, where he shares insights, tips, and the latest trends in real estate. So whether you're a first-time buyer, upgrading, or ready to sell, Blake Hunter is here to guide you every step of the way. Visit the website blakehunter.homes and start hunting for your dream home with confidence. And a reminder that coming up this Saturday is the Bazaar Bazaar. It's going to be at the Mile Away, which you will find in between Crescent and Council Bluffs on Old Lincoln Highway. And it's going on Saturday, September 13th from 11 to 5. A lot of vendor spots still available. They have a number of vendors already signed up and ready to go. You're going to find an eclectic mix of handcraft goods, vintage treasures, artistic creations, psychic readings, holistic services, and a whole lot more. So here's a phone number to text to reserve your spot, 402-318-7735. That's if you're a vendor. Now, if you would just like to come and enjoy the Saturday by walking around the Bazaar and looking at the different booths, well, that's free. Well, you got to buy stuff, but that is there's not an admission cost to this. So again, it's going to be at the Mile Away north of Council Bluffs on Old Lincoln Highway this Saturday on September 13th. Once again, congratulations to the area teams for the high school wins that we saw over the weekend. And also, congratulations, Iowa State, getting the win over Iowa and taking that Cy-Hawk trophy home for the second year in a row. Maybe next year, right? Yeah, right here. Go Hawks. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.